I woke up in my dimly lit bedroom, the morning light struggling to penetrate through the heavy curtains. My head was pounding and I felt disoriented, as if I had been dragged through a nightmare. I reached for my phone on the nightstand, my hands trembling as I unlocked the screen. The news alerts flooded in and dread settled in the pit of my stomach. A highly contagious virus sweeping the world. Symptoms gradually escalate. One headline read. I read through the details, my heart racing as I realized the severity of the situation. The virus, which they were calling ruinum contagiosa, started with mild symptoms like headaches, fatigue, and a persistent cough, but as days passed, the symptoms escalated, turning the infected individuals into mindless, violent creatures reminiscent of zombies from the horror movies I used to watch. My thoughts raced, and I swung my legs over the edge of the bed, the cold wooden floor chilling my feet. I rubbed my temples, trying to process the gravity of the situation. Outside, the once bustling streets were eerily quiet. The distant sound of sirens only added to the tension in the air. I rushed to the living room where my wife Sarah was sitting on the couch staring blankly at the television. Have you seen this? I asked, my voice betraying the anxiety that was gnawing at me. She turned to look at me, her eyes bloodshot and weary. Yeah, it's everywhere. What are we going to do? I wrapped my arms around her, pulling her close. We need to stay calm and figure this out, I said, trying to reassure both of us. We'll stick together and stay safe. Over the next few days, the situation deteriorated rapidly. The virus spread like wildfire, and reports of violence and chaos flooded the news. We barricaded ourselves in our apartment, rationing food and water as the world outside fell into chaos. Our two children, Emma and Liam, were scared and confused, their innocence colliding with the grim reality that surrounded us. As days turned into weeks, signs of the virus began to appear in our apartment complex. People coughed and stumbled down the hallways, their eyes vacant and their movements sluggish. The once close-knit community now felt like a breeding ground for fear and paranoia. We kept our distance from others, only venturing out when absolutely necessary. One morning I woke up to find Sarah coughing violently in bed. I felt a lump in my throat as I watched her, my heart sinking. She looked at me with tear-filled eyes, and I could see the fear in them. I don't feel right, she whispered, her voice hoarse. I took her hand, my own trembling. We'll get through this together, I said, more to reassure myself than her. But the days that followed shattered any illusion of hope. Sarah's condition worsened rapidly. Her skin turned pale, her eyes became bloodshot, and her movements grew unsteady. She lashed out in moments of delirium, her voice a mixture of incoherent whispers and desperate cries. It was painful to watch, and I felt helpless as the woman I loved slipped away before my eyes. Emma and Liam watched with wide eyes, their innocence fading with each passing day. I had to make a choice no one should ever have to make. I had heard rumors that those who were immune to the virus could survive, but the cost of that survival meant watching the ones they loved succumb to the infection. I had become immune somehow, a genetic anomaly in the face of this global nightmare. One night, as I sat by Sarah's bedside, her feverish grip on my hand weakening, I knew what I had to do. The virus had taken her mind and her body, leaving only a shell of the woman she once was. Tears streamed down my face as I whispered my final goodbyes, my voice breaking. Forgive me, I choked out as I pressed a pillow over her face, ending her suffering. I wiped my tears away and walked out of the bedroom, my footsteps heavy. Emma and Liam were waiting in the living room, their eyes filled with a mixture of fear and confusion. Where's Mom? Emma asked, her voice trembling. I took a deep breath, my heart aching. She's gone, I said, my voice barely a whisper. But we'll be okay. We have to keep moving forward. Days turned into weeks, and the apartment complex grew quieter as more residents succumbed to the virus. Emma and Liam showed no signs of infection, but the weight of the world had aged them beyond their years. We stuck together, scavenging for supplies, always on the move, never staying in one place for too long. But the virus was relentless, and even in our isolated existence, the threat was always present. And then, as I watched my children sleep one night, their innocence stolen by the harsh reality they had been thrust into, I felt a chill run down my spine. I could see it. The beginning of the symptoms, the telltale signs that the virus had finally found its way into them. My heart pounded in my chest as I considered the choices before me. Should I hold on to the slim hope of a cure? Or should I end their lives now, to spare them the agony that awaited? I stared at their peaceful faces, their chests rising and falling in slumber. My mind raced, torn between the love I had for them and the brutality of the situation. And as I held the knife in my trembling hand, I knew that whatever choice I made, it would haunt me until the end. The story ends here, hanging in the balance of an impossible decision, just as life hangs in the balance in a world ravaged by a relentless virus. The darkness looms, the unknown stretches before me, and the weight of the past presses heavily on my soul. What would you do in my shoes? What choices would you make to survive, to protect, to live another day in a world consumed by horror?